Hello, everybody. Happy May. Wow. So, April did not feel as light for people as I had anticipated, at least for the people that I support in my Evolve Journey program. And, honestly, for myself as well, it was still pretty intense. It was still pretty intense, even though they were good things that were unfolding. I moved into my new divine home in April. And even though that is amazing and exciting, right, there's still stress with moving. So even if it was good stuff that has been happening, quote unquote, good, right, because we know from a soul perspective, there's nothing bad, that it still felt pretty emotionally intense for many people. So I want to back up just a little bit into April. And we had the new moon in Taurus on April 27th, which is still impacting many of us. It was a super moon, and it had a lot to do with new beginnings and really urging us to dream big and to shift more into an abundance mindset versus a scarcity mindset. And it really was meant to bring blessings, surprise blessings for a lot of people. And I would say that that was definitely true for me as well. So, also, just for a short period of time more, all planets have been direct until May 4th on Sunday. So, a lot of moving forward, take action energy. We also moved into in April 19th, the sun moved into the sign of Taurus and will be there until the end of May. So I'll get more into that. We're going to be moving into Gemini. So, what does that mean with the sun being in Taurus? Again, Taurus has a lot to do with grounding energy, has to do with material, safety, security, and it's earth energy. And the body parts that are associated with Taurus are the neck and the throat. So if you can even hear my throat, right, we are having the opportunity to have big upgrades in the throat chakra, which has to do with expressing our true self. So expressing what we want, need, and desire, our boundaries, etc. So many of us are being called to work with our throat chakra and those limiting beliefs and fears that keep us from fully expressing and acting on our truths, our soul's guidance. And as we know, the three biggest patterns that we pick up in childhood, right, to survive unconsciously are the three P's. And that is the key that we are focusing on in the Evolve Journey program this month. And you'll also have the opportunity to join us. I'll let you know more about that towards the end. So, perfection, people pleasing, pretending to be superhuman, those keep us from fully expressing our truth. So, just wanted to back up and share a little bit of that. Venus has also been having a lot of action as well, even though Venus is in its post retrograde shadow now through the beginning of June. I don't remember the exact date, but Venus is the planet of love and relationships, of the divine feminine, of receiving. And I said this at the beginning of 2025, that this year we are really being called to step more and to integrate more of our divine feminine. So many of us, again, because we were conditioned to do so, were more in the shadow masculine and the shadow divine feminine. And the shadow divine feminine, again, is people pleasing. And it's also the superhuman man or woman over giving to the detriment of ourselves, draining our energy, our resources, over giving. And so all of us, whether you identify as male or female, we all have the masculine feminine energies. And we are working on moving into more divine masculine feminine, and especially the feminine this year. So this continues to be a big month, May, for that, for those energies. Really looking at relationships personally and professionally, and asking ourselves, is there equality? Is there, Venus is also about justice and equality, and are the relationships that we are in equal give and receive, and really looking with compassion and curiosity and complete honesty, right? And a lot of us are being called to let go. Old relationships, soul agreements, contracts have ended or are coming to an end. Because if they can't shift into more equality, then to honor ourselves, to be in soul alignment, we've got to let them go. We've got to walk away if they're not going to honor our boundaries. So the card I picked for this month, and then a little more astrology. So this card was picked at the beginning of the year, and it is the Tower card. So this card in the old tarot deck has the meaning of death. So I know a lot of people get scared about it. And yes, there are people that are leaving the planet right now because they find it too intense. They're jumping ship. But for those of you watching this, it doesn't literally mean that you're going to die. It does mean there is going to be destruction, crumbling of old structures, death, release of more of that, again, masculine, shadow masculine and feminine. There's going to be more crumbling of our belief system, right? We know that our beliefs, our limiting beliefs and fears drive our actions or lack of action. And so really the way of being in the world, of our identities, that is going to be the death of, I'm going to say the ego, right? The conditioned self, but also healing more of those wounds, those old traumas and the limiting beliefs and fears that are connected to them. So a much deeper healing this month of all of that. And again, with the 3 Ps. It's the 3 Ps that keep us: perfection, people pleasing, pretending to be superhuman. They keep us from being in our divine masculine and feminine. So we've got to work on soothing those 3 Ps, their fears, their limiting beliefs, activating what is true now. So that is a big theme in May with the Tower card. And it's also about surrendering to the divine, your divine plan, your soul's divine plan, divine timing. And it's really too about liberation and more supportive structures and systems in all areas of your life, not just relationships, but it comes down to money. It comes down to your daily self-care routines. It comes down to spirituality, more playtime, etc. So receiving more of what your soul desires in all life areas. Woo! So a few other just important astrological things this month. May 12th, we have, and again, depending on where you live, the full moon in Scorpio. Scorpio is a water sign. And so it has a lot to do with emotional breakthroughs and insights. Remember our emotions? And again, many of us have been, what's the word I want to use? Conditioned to shut off our emotions, or at least certain emotions. And we know that our emotions are important. They're part of our guidance system, just like feelings in our body are. And so we don't want to ignore those. We don't want to stuff them. We want to listen to them. We want to tune into them, connect with them. And Scorpio also has to do with your desires, as I just talked about as well with the Tower card. Receiving more of what your soul desires. It's about transformation. And it has to do with also more of your intuition, right? So in our emotions are part of that, And then we also have, we move into Gemini again the sun moves into Gemini on the 20th, give or take where you reside, what your time zone is. And Gemini is an air sign. It has to do with thinking. So here again, looking at your belief systems, your fears, and we get to choose, right? It's remembering that we are powerful co-creators, powerful souls, and we don't have to keep holding on to old limiting beliefs and fears that are holding us back from being in soul alignment. So it's really about, when we move into Gemini as well, looking at discovering what are those limiting beliefs and fears that I'm still holding on to from childhood, passed down from my ancestors, from the collective, and working on shifting those, shifting your story per se. And Gemini is connected to the body parts of the lungs and the arms, right? So the fourth chakra, the heart chakra, and shifting those belief systems around emotions as well. So what else is important? We have a new moon in Gemini at the end of the month. And again, new moons have to do with new beginnings. So all of this work that we're doing, right, with this Tower card, crumbling of old structures, really belief systems, old ways of doing things, old ways of being, so we can move more into the divine feminine and masculine. And again, Gemini, air, thinking, belief systems, and being able to understand that on a soul level, we are powerful. We are powerful. We can change or shift anything. And that begins with your mind. Our beliefs become our reality. If you don't like your current reality, you're going to want to ask yourself, what limiting beliefs and fears am I holding? Your reality is going to show you. So I always say we look at the past, we don't stare, but what happened in the past will give you a clue, especially the negative, challenging things will give you a clue to your belief systems, your fears, and then also looking at your current reality and specifically looking at your 3P belief systems that are running the show and soothing, activating the truths, etc. So also just a reminder that we really want to slow down. Even though we are taking actions and making shifts, we want to slow down in order to use our internal tools. So working with me, we've got our tools of journaling, of course, write and reflect. We've got guided therapeutic meditation practices. We've got the self-healing processes, which is a more conscious tool to step into those divine parent shoes, to work with your younger parts. And we've got the truth loops. And so we need to slow down and really use our internal tools this month in a deeper way to shift those limiting beliefs and fears. We are also being called to simplify so we can do this, and really connecting with nature, getting out in nature as much as possible, grounding. And you might also want to look at your birth chart, your astrological birth chart, and this will give you clues, and looking what sign, what number your Taurus is in, as well as Scorpio and Gemini for this month. That's going to give you a clue, that house number, as to your focus. Clues as to more focus, what you're to focus on this month. So also inviting you to join us. I wasn't sure it was going to happen this year. I was planning on, my guidance was giving me, and it's shifted to have the 3Ps key this year just be for the Evolved Journey program. But a few days ago, it came in loud and clear. Open this up for everybody in your community. So you can just do the 3Ps. If you're not ready for the Evolved Journey 12-month program, you can just join us this month for the 3Ps to help you, support you, to bring into balance your perfectionist, your people pleaser, and your pretending to be superhuman. They make you sick. They're at the root of all illnesses. They also impact every other area of your life, especially giving, receiving and following your guidance, and keeping you stuck in that shadow masculine and feminine. So working with these, if no other key, is so important. So I hope you'll join us. You can find the link for that below. Our first live class is May 7th. So I recommend a sign up ASAP. And we're going to be working with our superhuman first. So you can get started with the audio lesson and the tools. So sending you lots of love, lots of courage for this month of May. And you are a powerful soul. Just remember that. And you have a huge divine team that is here to support you, seen and unseen, including me. And you have to be open to receiving. the love and support, right? And the superhuman is the part of us that blocks that, that says, I don't need support. I have to do this alone. It's weak to ask for support. And that is not true. Even if you're a coach, healer, guide, teacher, just like me, I still need support from others, personally and professionally. So, namaste. Please share this with anyone you think that would benefit as well. Love you all.